Yo, yo, yo. What is up? I feel like I always start these streams and I'm like, it's been a minute. I feel like we've had a couple lulls, but we had the nice Thanksgiving break. It was nice to kind of, have a little time off, but basketball doesn't sleep. Never stops. And we're back talking NBA fantasy. Huge slate tonight. We'll kind of go through the games a little bit, the ones that have been played, and we'll just answer questions. So if you guys have questions throughout the chat, that's honestly what this ends up looking like, is more of a Q&A than like analyzing each individual game. But I think there's a couple things that are pretty interesting for fantasy that we need to talk about. I'm sure we'll talk a lot about Karl Anthony Towns tonight. Cat, the initial reports are it was a calf strain. And if you saw the injury, those are always so scary because no non-contact, he's just running up the floor, and then you just see him grab. It doesn't even look like he lands weird. Like I didn't even really see initially what looked like was the cause. He just started running weird and like fell to the ground, had to be helped off the floor. Those are like terrifying because those in like any sport, non-contact injuries are like the scariest. But hopefully it's a not a grade 3 calf strain. I think I was reading initial reports like the grade 3 or like the worst calf strain would be, that tear would be like 2 to 3 months, but that's obviously worst case, but we'll see. Is Jay McDaniels pick up after the cat injury? Yeah, I think like McDaniels one of those guys who like, depending on the size of your league, probably should have already been rostered.
Yeah.
So right. I think like an obvious like for sure pick up in every league, but I even think he should have been rostered. I know he didn't play tonight, but I think moving forward, he's the guy. Obviously, like usage wise, I don't know if you see a huge bump, but he was pretty efficient, which is pretty nice. So I think like if he gets a little bit of bump, he could be, he could have some random spike games for sure.
Yeah. Yep. I think he probably already is rostered, even in like 12, maybe 10 teams league, maybe not 10 team leagues, but yeah.
I know in a lot of like 10 team leagues, these guys who will have like quote unquote disappointing games, where he's always had the minutes, right? He's been playing like 28 plus minutes, but he'll have these games where he doesn't shoot a lot and he's like 9 points and a couple boards and people drop him for somebody. So I could see him in like 10 team leagues being on the waivers. So I think he's definitely a pickup. Who'd you have for him? Jalen Smith, Isaiah Jackson, Keegan, or Contra?
Probably Isaiah Jackson.
Yeah, man.
I guess there's upside with Turner getting injured, possibly, but I think it's probably Isaiah Jackson. Jalen Smith you have Jalen Smith and Isaiah Jackson both in that same sentence, right? So it's obviously going to be Isaiah Jackson and Smith, right? And then Keegan's getting good minutes. Contra's honestly getting pretty good minutes.
Yeah, he has been
too. So I think it's just Isaiah Jackson.
Let me pull up these games and we can start sharing. Do you know Bane's timeline?
Let me look. I was just looking at
I know it was initially
too,
I know it was initially like 2 to 3 weeks. So he's a guy who like I think long term like Conchar could potentially be he would be the right choice there.
Yeah.
Like if I have to play somebody for like the next week, like I want to be playing him probably over other guys, but I think he probably is a drop if Bane is back in like the next week, but I still think he'll have value, but obviously he's got a huge bump with no Bane.
Yeah, it's 2 to 3 weeks for Desmond.
And that
Bane,
was like I think that was like early November, so it should be
November 11th. So we're almost exactly at 3 weeks. So should be coming up here soon.
Yeah, dude, these injuries, man. I swear it's the NBA. The NBA fantasy's back when I'm like Googling player injury reports daily, just to know
it's
where
so
people are at.
Right, you start the season off and you kind of start logging him in your head, and you're like, okay, this is the big guy player that got hurt.
LaMelo's out right now. Okay.
Yeah, got the timeline in my head, and then all of a sudden, we're about a little over a month in, and it's just like, who's coming back?
Is AD
who's
playing
starting
tonight?
to go down? Yeah. Is Zion back, or did he just get hurt, or was he hurt, or is he now back?
That's NBA fantasy. Man. But no, we can pull up these games. But yeah, no, I think McDaniels is a really, really solid pickup. It is unfortunate, and actually he might be he might be kind of like a fun. I don't want to say fun. What's the word I'm looking for? He might be like available in more spots than you would think, just because he didn't play tonight. I know
Who?
like a lot of leagues, McDaniels. Like
Oh,
I know
okay.
in a lot of
Yeah.
leagues, like waivers, it's so hot. I know it was a huge slate tonight, so I mean maybe he didn't get dropped because people had enough players to play. But I know a lot of times people like making roster decisions for the week. If a guy's out, it's Dumpsville if he's kind of on the border of the roster.
Right.
But yeah, we can start talking about these games. I guess we can start with this Timberwolves games.
Okay.
Um, Kobe Porzingis here. Let's pull this up.
Yeah. I mean, man, Timberwolves are just they're in shambles,
It's just wild, man.
and this doesn't hurt or this doesn't help. Wow, that was really poor. That was a really
Really,
poor
it really
Freudian slip
hurts.
there. Yeah, that's a really bad Freudian slip there, but
Yeah,
it does hurt and it doesn't help. But I mean, KP though, in all seriousness, like yeah, he torched them, but I think he is just a really good matchup for Gobert because he stretches the floor so well and
yeah.
brings
I
the
mean,
rim protector
six
off
for 10
Gobert
from
out there.
three. Yeah,
Yeah, and so I mean, especially with Cat going down. I mean, Cat played what 3/4 ish, say 22 minutes.
yeah. 20.
So yeah, I mean, this matchup was pretty favorable for him, especially with Cat going down. But like clearly throughout the first 3/4, it didn't matter anyway. Um, yeah, I mean, KP's just continuing to have a very good season. Not only like kind of shockingly good. Like we know he's capable of this,
Yeah,
but
it was the with the
it's the
Beal return.
consistency. Yeah, it's the
Yeah,
consistency. It's the offense, new offense, and Beal being there. The usage, the consistency and usage is really nice too. And it's also just he's playing a lot of games. I think he's played almost every game.
right.
And
Oh man,
so this is
you
just
find some wood to knock on right now talking about KP playing every
I
game.
got my desk is one.
Yeah,
And so I mean this is an incredible start. I think no matter where you drafted KP, I think he's exceeding where you
yeah.
drafted him no matter
And
what,
I'm gonna
right?
call myself
So
out. I was really not into KP where he was going in drafts because I really was scared about the Beal return. And I just didn't see a world where like Kuz, KP, and Beal were all able to be pretty consistently fantasy relevant. But that's kind of the world we're seeing. And yeah, I mean we've had some off games from each of these guys, but for the most part, is exceeded my expectations for sure.
yeah,
But
yeah,
I don't think there's much to talk about outside
right.
of those guys.
Yeah, everybody else
Abdi
pretty
is
simple. Like,
playing. Yeah, it's kind of like
yep,
the same of what we've seen. So we can go
Kuz,
over to the T
Beal,
Wolves.
both some decent usage. Nothing crazy to see there. Yeah, I think we're good to move on from that.
Yeah. Yeah, the Timberwolves, it is a little weird, right? So obviously, Cat going down is going to impact a lot of what you're seeing here, but no McDaniels as well. Like, I know he doesn't feel like a huge usage monster, but he's just a guy who's just been playing like 30 minutes for them. So just from a minute standpoint, looking at some of these guys, I know a lot of people tend to look at like the most recent game, and um, yeah, I don't know if there's like much I'm like super excited about because I know there's some guys you would
Um,
think are like the pickup for sure.
yeah, I have a
Um,
sneaky guy that it's just kind of like we haven't seen it too much. You can kind of see it here and there, but Kyle Anderson's a sneaky guy to me. Um,
yeah,
so like just over, for the last few years, right? When he gets opportunity in minutes, he can fill the stat sheet, good defender, can pass the ball, can rebound the ball, can score, slow mo. Is his nickname.
yeah,
Kyle, I love him. I love him in this scenario because Cat going down. I do think McDaniels will obviously fill in that role and fill in those minutes. But I think Kyle Anderson could be a really key player here for them to bring off the bench and get good minutes. A very like high veteran player,
mhm,
great defensive player, at a position of need now even
yeah.
more, right?
Yeah,
So because you have
played 28
McDaniel's,
minutes tonight.
yep,
And I think they probably just go. I think they just go smaller, right? Like I think they just have Gobert at the five and probably play like McDaniel's and Anderson a decent amount.
yeah. I
Um,
mean, I wouldn't be shocked if Anderson starts starting a little bit more or creeps into these higher 28-ish minute games more often, and so I think that's just a guy to keep an eye out for. He's not going to be the most flashy player, obviously, but I think he can give you, this game he had 8.84, no defensive stats. I think he can give you like 10, 6, 4, and a couple defensive stats as a floor with these higher minute games. So I think he could be a sneaky good fantasy points
yeah,
guy for you.
for sure. You want to move on? We can just kind of
Yep.
roll through these a little bit. Where do you want to go? Games that have concluded. You want to
Yeah.
go Hawks
Um,
Sixers? That was another kind of injury scare game, but luckily Embiid came back,
yeah, let's go to it.
so we can pull that one up. Let's start over here on the Sixers side. So yeah, like I
Yeah, this is a good
mentioned,
one.
yeah, Embiid left. That's always scary. I know a lot of people were like, "This is scheduled to tweet that Embiid went to the locker room," but came back, looked good. Classic Embiid line. I guess the assists were
Yeah,
pretty nice, but yeah,
I I wanted to go to this one because I wanted, we've been gone for the holidays, so I wanted to just get in a little bit of Shake Milton love. Um,
yeah,
since Tyrese Maxey's been out, he's been stepping up super well. He is more of an offensive savant more than Melton was. But like he fills into that Max role really nicely. With like I think he can. He's obviously taking advantage of being a high usage offensive guy with a lot of shots, scoring very well, passing the ball well, um, solid defensively too. So I think Shake Milton, he's been on fire. So if you were able to pick him up off the wire with that Maxi injury going down, that's great news. But I mean, again, Maxi and Harden should be back kind of soon, maybe.
yeah,
And then Maxi shouldn't be out for super long either. So just wanted to give him a love while he's still getting 30 to 40 minutes.
yeah. Yeah, for sure. No, I feel like this guy we've kind of dogged on kind of the whole leading into the season and for the season, but
I
Toby's had
know
a
you're
couple
talking about.
solid
Yeah.
games here just for the opportunity, and that's kind of been our thing, right? Toby's gonna have these games when he has this opportunity, and then he's still gonna have decent games, even with those guys healthy. We just prefer the upside of other guys, so
Yep.
good
Yep.
opportunity, but a lot of those guys are coming back.
Yep. And then the opposite side, I mean, continued woes a little bit, or not woes, but frustration maybe for Trae Young owners. It was probably a poor matchup, I think. I think Milton, Melton and Milton. I think they're a pretty good matchup for these guards. They're both pretty long and lanky and switchable onto both of them.
Mm.
So defensively, this wasn't an ideal matchup, but it doesn't. It's not great to see Trae Young putting up only 18 points, but he didn't shoot a ton, so
Yeah.
the volume just wasn't there. Efficiency wise, he wasn't terrible, but 10 assists is good too.
Yeah, and I think this is kind of the stat line. I know we get a lot of questions about John Collins and just kind of what he's been this season. He's been pretty disappointing, pretty inconsistent, right? It's been a lot of usage with Murray and Young for sure. But I think this is kind of the stat line you kind of expect from him, kind of like a 13-8, but then definitely not the 6 defensive stats. That's not really something you expect, but he's got defensive stat upside for sure. So I think I think we talked about it on the last show a little bit. I think Collins just one of those guys that's just like, if he has a stretch, right, and maybe this is one of those because of
Yep.
the defensive stats,
Yep.
right, that kind of bolsters the fantasy points. If he has a stretch where it's like, okay, this was the higher end of his scoring and rebounding numbers, and he had a couple defensive stats, I'd definitely be looking to move him. And it's not that I think Collins is going to be awful this year. It's just he's going to be what he's been, pretty inconsistent. And it's just, I think I liked Collins a decent amount because he was kind of falling a little bit in drafts. And the thought was, I really think Young and Murray can both be, 8+ assist guys. And if that's the case, Collins should, be the beneficiary of that a decent amount. But it's been pretty spread out, right? Hunter has these games, even Holiday's having these games off the bench. So it's just not as consistent for Collins as you kind of need from him.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think this 2 game stretch is a perfect little window where you can maybe catch some league mates thinking that he's back
Yeah.
and get rid of him at a
He's
more
got
decent
some
price.
name value, right? Like that's kind of the thing.
Yeah.
When you talk about like selling high on players, it's hard to do that for like secondary guys who are filling in for injured guys. But when it's a guy like Collins who's like had fantasy value over the past couple seasons, and maybe people think he's back a little bit, but we can keep it moving with this
Yep.
one. Let's go to
Hornets,
let's go to
Celtics.
no, I wanted to go to Cleveland, Toronto. I wanted to talk about Siakam.
Yeah.
Not like a monster game or anything.
You don't want to
Really,
talk about Chetty Osman and if he still bleeds yellow.
Alright, yeah, that was weird. Did we get like
I still
a
don't.
confirmation? Yeah, I was gonna
I,
say. All I saw were the tweets about like that was weird, and then like nothing else.
I
Uh,
I saw some people talk about like brain fluid can be yellow or like, which is crazy. that makes me think that's not it because I don't think he would get up in that scenario. And then some people said that like stomach acid stuff is what makes the most sense to me.
Okay, yeah.
But still, like, what the? Sorry, we could just sorry. On to the
Moving on.
actual
No, I think I just wanted to quick give a shout for the return. Siakam coming back.
yeah,
Not a monster stat line, but really solid. I mean, 18, 11, and 5. Good line,
yeah,
good line. Just happy to see him back, and man, he just looks so good. I love Siakam.
yeah. It's interesting. I mean, Siakam back and Trent was moved to the bench. But I guess it makes sense against this Cavs lineup. They're so big.
Yeah, it was a
Uh,
little weird. Scotty, I think this was Scotty's first game off the bench. I think.
yeah, Scotty off the bench, Trent off the bench. So they started Hernan Gomez and Thaddeus Young.
Yeah.
Um,
Who've played
which
well. I mean Thaddeus specifically. Kind of in
yeah,
those two pairings. Um,
I don't. I want to say it's a size matchup, but like Jared Allen didn't play, so I don't know if it was a. I don't know. It's an interesting play because they just played the Mavs and Trent did start that game.
mm.
So I don't know. Maybe it's
It's
just
not
like
it's not anything I'm too worried
like the
about.
minutes were still kind of there,
Yeah.
right? Like they both were pushing 30 minutes anyway. So
Yeah, for sure. Yo, what's up, Brownwood Jr.? Hey guys, what happened to Simmons?
I think he did he not get injured
Um,
or did they just pull him? I didn't watch that game, but I know he played like 11 minutes.
I know. I think the hardest thing about kind of doing this stuff is I pick like a few games to watch and then I'll like go back. Um, yeah, that's one I did not watch. So maybe you tell us what happened to Simmons. Do you think OG could be a potential top 40 player for the rest of the season? OG is tough just because of the stretch he had without a lot of guys, right? Obviously, Siakam missed significant time, but in a lot of those games, it was without kind of one of the other kind of secondary guys. So
Yeah,
top 40, top 40 is
yeah,
a little tough,
a
but
little
I like
rich
OG a
maybe.
lot. I think we would both keep him top 60, 70.
Yeah. Ben Simmons left with knee soreness confirmed,
Mm,
which is not what you want to see
nah,
at all. Because
he's had some
Ben Simmons,
had
he's
some
back.
back
Ben Simmons
issues
is
too.
back. He was back, but not back. He was back,
He was
and
he was back in parentheses soreness questionable to return. No,
he was playing well.
dude, I will say, yeah. I mean, he was kind of doing what we talked about, right? Where it was like the scoring's not going to be consistent. You get these random 20-point games, but it's like, do you care that much if he's getting you 12 and 8, rebounds, assists? Like he
Yeah,
has the upside to have those kind of games. Um,
yeah. But to go back to,
Oh,
I
wait,
think,
I want a quick shout out. Yesterday makes this like an even more amazing trade. I just traded Turner and Kawhi for Cat and Jalen Green. I had a great trade. We're not even like huge Cat guys. That's a great trade, but obviously the cat injury is really tough. Yeah, hopefully it is. I know we're seeing the kind of the calf strain, so hopefully that's. I think the worst degree of that has typically, from a timeline perspective, been like 3 months, but that's the worst case. Obviously, we're not injury experts. Tough to predict that stuff. So just kind
I
of,
mean, if you watched it, like you're thinking season, like
yeah.
non-contact reaches of the knee area,
I
I
thought it was like like a bad tear.
MCL,
Yeah, when
ACL,
you
something
see
like
those like
that.
MCL, ACL tears, like that's kind of what they look like, right? Where it's like these non-contact landed weird, can't put any weight on it.
Oh yeah, it's like, oh, I cannot touch this. Like I cannot put weight on this. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
so
always.
seeing the calf strain, I think it's funny to say it's like a relieving report, but I think a lot of people were like, "Phew." But still, obviously we don't know. Yeah, that was a finesse for sure. Gobert's gonna blow up. I don't know about blow up. I think Gobert's just kind of gonna keep doing. I think everyone gets a bump, right? We talked about McDaniels a little bit specifically. He feels like kind of that nod, right? He was a pretty decent like efficiency guy from a scoring perspective. So he's one of those guys where if he gets that usage bump just naturally with no cat, could be pretty nice. But I think everyone gets a bump. I don't think it's like they're gonna feed Gobert all day, right? Like with no cat. It's gonna be a lot of Ant, right? But yeah. Is Nas Reed the guy
Yeah,
now? Yeah, I mean I think like yes and no. right? Like I don't think Nas Reed is like a all your fab if you're the cat owner kind of guy, you know. Like I think it's going to be a lot of a mix, like what we saw tonight, right? It was like Anderson. We didn't even see
Yep.
McDaniels tonight. I know
Yeah,
Reed got some run.
I want to put McDaniels and slow mo over Reed. I mean, Reed at least can like stretch the floor a little bit more, which is nice as like a big. So I think it'll be very like matchup dependent. But as far as like the Gobert thing, right? I don't know if he'll blow up. I think he might be maybe closer to what we expected him to be in Minnesota, or like he might be like what he was when he was kind of the only big on the team. So I think like sure he'll get a couple more rebounds per game and a couple more buckets per game, but it's like I mean he maybe will be like 16 and 14, 16 and 13 instead of 14 and 12, right? So it's like it's a good bump, but I don't think it'll be like a 20 and 18 guy. So just because of this, right? There's still like Ant
Yeah.
there. There's still guys that are gonna have to fill that role and produce in spots where Cat is missing. So it'll be a team effort, obviously. So like, that goes back to us saying that I think like Daniels will be big. And Slow-Mo I think will be big. And then I think Nasrid is an interesting shout. I can't really see him being a high usage fantasy guy. I just don't think he's as savvy or as talented as guys like McDaniels and Cal Anderson.
Yeah.
I think they're more experienced and more like talented, and I think even if they get like the same minutes, I think they'll produce better.
Nas got some experience, quote unquote, but no, I agree. I think specifically in this role.
Yeah, Well, I mean,
Um,
we saw some good Nas games last year when Cat was out too, but
yeah. I didn't watch the next game. Is Simmons' injury serious or what happened? Yeah, so that was a game we both did not watch either, but reports I've seen were knee soreness. So I don't think there was anything that was like a massive like injury. I think it's just knee soreness stuff, which can be like that can be
underplayed and actually be
underplayed
maybe.
and turn into something that's like a multiple weeks, but we'll see. I heard Fultz is coming back. Yeah, it's these like returns are really tough because I know they're like they're really hyped, right? And it's really exciting. I mean, I've got Fultz on an IL spot just because why not, you know? But now, are you do you think there's a route? Are you a route or a route guy?
Root.
Is there a route for Fultz to be a must roster guy in fantasy?
Oh yeah, I think.
Okay.
I mean, he was still like a must roster guy. I don't remember if it was last year or the year before
Mm-hmm.
when like they still had a good amount of guards there in Orlando, and he was just very efficient in fewer minutes when he got back from the injury the first time he was in Orlando.
Yeah.
He was like a good defensive stat guy, high
Yeah.
assists, just
It's like a
high.
12-3-5 guy, which those
Yeah,
guys
and
have
like
value if they're playing decent minutes.
he had several games where he was pushing like double doubles for a while. Barring any like Orlando Magic guard injuries, but I think even in a crowded Magic backcourt, I think
Yeah. And I think it's tough too because crowded in multiple ways, right? So we're getting a lot of guys coming back from injuries, right? So Cole Anthony was out for a significant amount of time. We've had Suggs miss some games here and there. They're willing to go big and play these big lineups, right? We've seen that a decent amount. So I think, especially initially coming back from the injury, it might even be a slower start for Fultz, right? Because I don't think the minutes will be there initially. I think there's a path for him to be a decent part of the rotation, but I don't have high hopes. But I like Fultz. I think I could see a path where he's close to what he was over the past 2 seasons, where he was kind of like a 12-5-2 guy, something like that.
yeah,
Maybe
yeah,
not 5 with all those motherfucking massive guys that got on that roster, but
yeah. I don't know. I feel like the going big, like what the Mets are doing, is more a matter of circumstance than kind of what
yeah, that's
they
fair.
plan to do entering the season. But I
Dude,
could
I
be
don't know.
wrong.
Bol Bol is kind of the truth, though.
I mean, there's still room for Bobo, right? Especially
Yeah.
with Moncaro being out and other stuff, but there's still room for Bobo.
Yeah. Is it just me or has Kyrie been underwhelming since he came back? Yeah, Kyrie's had a couple of these games too. I never get too worried about these guys who I just know are so damn good that kind of have these um, stretches that are disappointing. So I wouldn't freak out or anything. Uh,
especially if Simmons has to miss time.
yeah, for sure. Who's better for the season, Keldon or OG?
I got
Yeah,
OG.
you got OG.
Yeah, yeah.
Is that easy?
Yeah. I think yeah, he's been doing better, maybe because the guys like,
Yeah,
Barnes or Siakam have been out in a couple games, but I think OG can score close to, if not as much as Keldon, rebound better than Keldon.
yeah,
Assists is probably pretty comparable, and the defensive stats are higher as well.
yeah.
Um,
No,
I
that's
think
totally
he's,
fair.
he's he's also just more efficient too. Like Keldon sure might get more shots up, but like he's going to shoot from much further away and have some poor efficiency nights. His peripherals I don't think are as consistent and good as OG, and then defensive stats OG is just far and above better. I think OG is sitting like 44th right now in fantasy points per game. Keldon's near 70, and
Yeah,
sure I think there's going to be like a little bit of regression there. And like OG might be closer to 50, and Keldon might be closer to like 60, but
yeah.
I like OG more.
Yeah, no, I think there's definitely something to be said. You touched on it, I think, with the opportunity he's had with a lot of these guys, right? If you just kind of look at this Raptors roster, right, a lot of these really big games were without Siakam, who's just going to be kind of a usage monster this season. But no, I agree. I like OG a lot. I think it's pretty close. But yeah, I mean, even with the dip you expect from OG. I think they'll be pretty close. So I have no
Yeah,
problem taking OG with the upside a little bit. I really like
yeah,
Keldon though. I like Keldon a lot. I think he's got pretty consistent upside with just the usage he's going to see. I know he's had some kind of up and down games, pretty bad shooting games like that Lakers game. Like those will happen, but he's just in such a good
right.
spot. I like Keldon.
No, yeah, for sure. It's no slight to Keldon. It's just more of love to OG for me.
That OG love.
Yes,
Nothing
sir.
like that OG love.
Mm.
Damn. Gobert to the moon. Yeah, I mean it's definitely a bump. I don't think
Yep.
it's like a smash, like Gobert's gonna go sicko mode or anything, just because we've never really seen. I mean, he'll have these games right where he's just like, oh, Gobert 24 tonight. But
Yeah,
yeah, I think it's I
it's
think it's gonna be spread around. Like it's gonna be an
right.
Ant, even D'Lo a little bit. McDaniel's obviously just in a good spot with all that. Yeah,
Yeah, it's not to me. It's less of like, Cat is out. We need to go into Gobert to get our scoring now. It's like, okay, well, Ant is freed up for a couple more shots a game now, right? Ant is still their guy, and so he's freed up for some more scoring. And then you bring in McDaniel's and Kyle Anderson and Nas Reed, who will share a good chunk of those minutes in the scoring. Like Gobert's never been like a okay, Gobert's back to being a 15 to 20 shot per game guy. It's like that's just not who he is, right?
yeah.
So,
But I
um,
mean, even with all that being said, I know we like to do the fantasy thing where we're like, no, I mean, we don't, we're kind of like lowering the expectations. But like, obviously, you remove a guy like Cat from a team, like,
yeah,
opportunity is
yeah,
going to be there for other guys. So
yes,
like,
there will
Gobert
be a
will
bump.
have games and everything. So yeah,
Yeah, there will be a bump. It's like there's other duos in the league, but if one of the guys goes down,
hmm
it gets a much bigger bump
yeah,
than this. But yeah,
yeah,
naturally, there's a usage gap, and Gobert's going to help fill it.
for sure. All right, I went to your requested game. I've got Celtics Hornets here. What would you want to talk about this game? Just the Celtics offense being pretty
Yeah,
wild, 140.
I just
Tatum
want to
just
talk about
saying.
how James Bouknight is on this roster still. No, I'm just kidding.
Damn.
Um, no,
I will
I
say we
actually
were surprised the first time we looked and we were like, we saw Boognight in the box
it's
score. We're
so
like, wait, he played? They played him?
yeah.
Not only
No,
was he
to
on
be
the
honest,
roster.
like before everything that happened, I actually really liked Bouknight.
Yeah.
That was kind of a joke, but no, there's nothing specific I really want to talk about. It's just like, man, the injuries. I think maybe was something to bring up, like when's Lamelo gonna be back? Rozier,
hmm
Oubre was or not Oubre. Hayward was out. Man, they pulled a lot of people out.
Yeah.
Uh,
No
but
Terry,
Oubre
no
is
Hayward,
just
no LaMelo.
Ubre's just sitting on a gold mine of usage. I mean, he'll shoot no matter what when people are there, but
Oh,
now it's just
yeah.
like he doesn't have to feel bad about it at all.
0 for 4 from 3,
Um,
22 points. It's just
yeah,
like he's just going to
yeah.
shoot 18 times. Ubre's just shooting like he's an all-star on a team or something.
Yeah. And then, well, honestly, too, it's kind of funny that it worked out this way. Holy cow, something popped up and it's super loud. Okay,
You okay?
anyway, wow, I can't even hear myself talk.
We got to
The
get a
other
tech
thing
guy.
was, the other thing was, we're talking about Gobert being out, or not Gobert, Cat being out in the duos. Who's going to fill that role? This game is an example of a duo member being out and one person really taking on the usage with Tatum,
Mm,
right? I was going to bring that up as an example, but here it is right now already.
yeah.
Jalen Brown being out and Tatum shooting almost, 30 times. Like this game had no chance of being close to the amount of injuries that the Hornets had. So this game out of Tatum was honestly probably the floor of what we expected. Probably a 30 bomb out of him. Honestly, like only 3 boards, 3 assists. Not like, yeah, it's a good game, obviously, but he shot the ball 30 times, so it's kind of an okay game. They just kind of
Yeah.
blew him out, right? So he only played 30 minutes, so it's kind of impressive. Marcus Smart, 15 assists. The Hornets can't play defense, especially without half their team starting. So
Yeah.
this game was just a rout to begin with.
For sure. Yeah, and
But
Brogdon's really interesting too, because like you look at the box score and you're like 21 points, 5 boards, 6 assists, 22 minutes. Like he's been really efficient. I just wish he had more opportunities, especially in these games like without Brown. But I mean, obviously a route, and not a lot of guys played massive minutes or anything. But
yeah,
Brogdon's one of those guys who's like, when you see him, man, you're like, oh, he's so good. And then just for fantasy purposes, you're
yeah,
like, sucks that he's on the Celtics, like,
yeah.
uh,
That's kind of who he's been, right? He's a 50-40-90 guy.
yeah.
In the past, rookie of the year, like there's been times like on that Bucks team, he wasn't a high minutes guy. Like Pacers, we saw a bit more before Halliburton, where was really a stud. But like there was no doubt about Brogdon being a smart and efficient player. So,
Yeah.
and I think people that drafted him, right, they didn't grab him thinking he was gonna. I mean, maybe they thought he would start, but they didn't think he was gonna get like 30
Yeah,
plus minutes.
I thought there was I mean, he's playing like 22 minutes right now. I thought there was a chance at least for him to kind of be like a 26, 27 minute guy and kind of bump White a little bit and
Yeah,
play a decent amount, eat into Marcus Smart a little.
yeah.
But I mean,
It
Smart's
definitely
yeah.
Yeah, it definitely makes more sense from like a strategy standpoint to have a guy like Brogdon commanding the second unit versus
Yeah,
like
right.
imagine Derek
From an
White out there running the
NBA
offense.
standpoint,
Yeah,
yeah.
right. So I mean, you obviously want Brogdon to run the second unit and be at the helm over Derek White. So it makes sense, but it does kind of stink selfishly as fantasy players to be like, man, Brogdon could be a stud if he played 35 minutes a game.
Yeah.
But again, you didn't draft him to probably play 35 minutes a game, and even if you did, you didn't pay a lot. You didn't pay a high premium for that. So.
Yeah, for sure. Are you guys done with Keegan Murray?
Done with.
These
Done
like done
with.
with questions are so tough for like rookies, right? Because there was a lot of people who were asking if we should be done with Jabari Smith.
Larry Smith, yeah.
Yeah, and Keegan, I know it's weird to kind of like make those comparisons with like whatever opportunity, but like Keegan's, I know it's been a little inconsistent, but like, I mean, he's playing like 29 minutes a game. I know he's had some kind of weird games here and there, but it's really hard for me to be done with a player who's a rookie who has potential to grow leading into the All-Star break. But I get it. I
Yeah,
mean, he's been pretty disappointing.
yeah. I think it's a matter of, well, one, yeah, he's been very inefficient, and his shooting has been pretty poor.
Yeah.
The minutes have gone down a little bit as the Kings have just really expanded their depth. They play
Yeah.
13 to 14 guys a game, and that's kind of been giving them some success in winning. Um, so they're just kind of doing what works, right? This is another example of it being the NBA and not it being a fantasy league in real life,
Yeah.
right? They're just doing what works.
Yeah.
And
I
for
think
right now, it's just playing a bunch of guys, different rotations, spread out minutes. But again, still, yeah, he's a rookie, so he's still
I
starting.
think I have no problem if you're in a shallow league. I have no problem being done with Keegan Murray. But
Yeah,
with that being
sure.
said, I don't want to drop him in kind of my like 12 team plus leagues.
Yeah,
Just to
it's
drop him.
if he gets moved to the bench and not doesn't start, then I'm
Yeah.
definitely done with him. But he's
If
still starting.
if
They
he's
still value
20,
him.
yeah, if he's playing 22 minutes, the depth's there and he's just doesn't have that role. But I don't know. Even with their depth, it's hard for me to see unless he's just bad for like a long stretch. But I don't know. I think he'll just continue to be like a 25 plus, 26, 27 minute guy.
I don't.
Um,
I don't think they really have someone that's comparable to his play style, right? Like he's
mm,
a good defender, a pure shooter, good size and length. A smart guy for a young guy, And then it's like on their bench, it's like Malik Monk is very different. Terrence Davis is very different. Kevin Herter is similar, but not the same build, right? They don't have like a stretch four kind of guy like that can just stroke it from outside and also get in the paint and play tough and defensively. Like
Yeah.
they don't really have someone that they can just like replace him with. So I think that's probably why he's still in the starting lineup. So um, I think the minutes will still be fine, but yeah, it is frustrating, and it's a rookie. So I mean, am I done with him? I'm not excited about him as like one of these rookies right now. Like I think it'll still take time for him to get more shots and be more efficient. But even on top of that, right, with how much their depth is getting involved, I think it is a little scary. So I wouldn't mind if you guys are done with him too.
Yeah. Do we hold on to Josh Giddey? Yeah, for sure. I have no I have no thought to drop Josh Giddey for any reason in any league, for any matter, in any circumstance, for any
Yeah, I mean,
reason.
yeah, did he just like do something like off court
Did you
reasons?
catch him like?
Yeah.
No, I know he didn't have a great game this last game. I think that led that the Pels game tonight. He was like 7-5-1, but you don't drop Giddey.
No, yeah, you don't drop Giddii. It's
A
not
guy
like,
that's gonna give you just like 14, like can just give you like 14, 7 and 5. Like
yeah,
you don't drop those guys.
no.
LeBron's ankle injury looked rough.
That right now.
Did that just happen?
The game's going on right now. It's
You're scaring me.
yeah, he came out of the game.
Oh no. Yeah, the games that happen right now, we're not watching because we're focusing on you guys. I mean, I'm looking at myself right now with my camera, but looking
Yeah,
at the chat
too
too.
bad.
He's okay. Nice. So he probably is coming back. Nice. When Siakam comes back, should I drop Bruce Brown or DeAndre Hunter? Yeah, Siakam is bad. He played tonight, but I assume you're able to still make a move. Doing okay in points so far this season. Bruce Brown or DeAndre Hunter? I know you're not a big Hunter guy, but
I mean, I take him over Bruce Brown for sure.
yeah, and I know it's kind of yeah.
Yeah.
I just want to hear you say it because I feel like anytime I see a player that I like more than you in my mind, I want to hear you agree before I get my spiel.
Yeah, I mean, long term, I would probably go with Hunter.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I don't think he's like that much better. Like it's like, are you idiot? Why are you even asking me that? But I would go Hunter.
yeah, I think when the Nuggets are fully healthy, it's definitely Hunter.
Yeah.
When they're both teams are fully healthy, it's definitely Hunter. But
Right.
given the injury history of these Nuggets players, maybe we'll end up playing. It's more long thought.
Yeah, for sure. Would you recommend flipping LeBron because of the injury risks? Yeah, I think this is kind of when the NBA, like heading into the NBA season, you can't really do this kind of thing. But when the NBA season is happening and players are scoring points, you can flip some of these injury risk players who historically, what we've seen over the past couple seasons, 80's not playing 72 games, like you just know this. So I think it's always a good idea to kind of like test the. Dude, I love AD.
I hope he does.
I want to watch more. No, I think we're both in the same camp where you always want to like see the price of players right in your league. So anytime that you think, I bet you guys in my league value LeBron as like, a top 7 player, and you can like potentially move him for one of those guys, or maybe even package with somebody else who's outperforming expectations to move up into that kind of like top 5, top 6 or something. Like 100% do that.
Yeah,
we still like LeBron. I like LeBron. I don't think he's like a get him off my roster, but
no,
he's definitely
no. I mean, yeah, there's definitely like his production can match the guys that you think that should, I mean, most likely play more games than him. So if you can kind of, shop them, and
it's kind of tough. A lot of the top end guys are smashing, but maybe you could do a LeBron for like Harden when he's coming back. Some kind of like deal with that.
I think I'd rather have LeBron.
No, I know. I'm saying like you could get a plus. Maybe
Oh
not.
yeah, yeah.
Do you think you get a plus? Maybe not the hard
Probably.
noter that's held him this whole time. Like I get that.
Yeah, I mean, there's two sides to that, right? I mean, there's something like they've held on to him this long, or it's the guys that are like, I don't know if he's gonna come
Yeah.
back and
I
stay healthy.
right. I don't want to like predict this kind of like how people feel about stuff. All right, Cade. We didn't talk about Cade. Sorry, I saw somebody make a comment um about Cade, but I haven't seen. Has the decision been made? I know they've kind of been going back and forth on if they're gonna take the surgery route or the rest route, which obviously surgery would be a longer term recovery for
Yeah,
like this season. Have you seen any notes
I
on the
don't
decision?
I don't think they've made a decision yet.
I know there was a report like 2 or 3 days ago that it was coming soon. And that's all I remember seeing about it. Let us know in the chat if you guys have seen anything different. But obviously, that's going to impact timeline and timing. So I assume if you're just looking
Yeah,
at this season, I mean, I talked about it. I don't see a world where Cade plays before the All Star break.
yeah.
Um,
I don't
I don't see
I
that.
don't think I don't think I missed anything, but
Right.
yeah, they're
Yeah.
still waiting to probably decide what to do with them, shut them down or not.
Yeah. So we'll probably talk more about Cade. Once we
Once
kind
they
of
come to decision.
once we have a decision and we know, okay, they're doing surgery, he's probably shut down for the season. I don't know if much change. I know like
I guess yeah,
rest would be better, but I think they're both going to be really long term. I know he was shooting around and there's been some kind of like positive stuff, but I don't know, man. I think they're gonna play it safe with Cade,
yeah.
rightfully so.
Either way, I guess either way, it's like he's an IL guy, right? You just kind of stash him or get rid of him. So it's not like it's like okay, is it 3 weeks or 2 months? It's like is it 4 months or done?
Yeah,
Unfortunately.
for sure. Great day one of the new week. Let's go. Yeah, what's up, Zach? Let's go. Got Jokic, KD, Bull. I love that Bull and KD both get the all caps respect. I love it. KPJ, Booker, and D Fox. Dude, that's a solid team, man.
Good. I got
Jokic,
Jokic, AD,
KD,
Kevin Porter, Booker, Fox doing okay too.
D Fox. Dude, that's a solid team, man. You got KD, Jokic,
Booker, Andy
Booker,
Fox.
and D Fox, and Bull. Let's go, dude. Bull's
Yeah,
kind of legit. I'm gonna be honest. I want to go back to the stream. Let's find the stream where Bull had his first like good game, and we were like, if you need a block, get him in there, dude. He's been.
yeah,
This is what happens, man.
yeah.
You give an 8 foot man the reins to a starting roster spot.
Yeah,
Solid minutes.
this is before we thought that the Magic were serious about running five centers.
Right. They're like, oh wait, they're actually doing it.
Yeah,
Yeah, what's up, Aspects? Would you sell high on JJJ? Jaron Jackson Jr. Hold just curious. Yeah, I think we're always like our like general answer to questions like that are like if you think his value is high and you think you can like get a solid return for him for sure. I think he's definitely outperforming what I expect from him this season. Just historically, over the past 2 seasons, I know he's missed some time here and there, but yeah, I think like what is he at like 19 points per game this season? He's just had some pretty monster games. Those will come. 3 blocks a game. I mean, he's a solid block guy for sure, but I mean, would not surprise me if he regresses back to kind of like the 17, 6 and 1 assist and 2.3 blocks instead of 3.2,
yeah. I would probably sell high. Yeah, I think I would sell high. Say much more than that. Sometimes, I just think I should
Yeah.
talk more, and I don't have to. I would sell high. Next question.
I probably talked too much. So that's probably a good shout. Got offered Embiid, Holiday. Assume that's Drew. Brooke. Let us know if it's a different Holiday because I see Brooke in there. For
I've got
Donovan,
three
Fred
issues from.
VanVleet, Cat, and Keldon.
Jeez. Embiid, Drew, Rook, for Mitchell, Van Vliet, Cat, and Kelp.
I think with Cat being hurt, it's
I
really
would.
hard
I wouldn't.
to take that side.
I think I like Embiid over there first player, and I like Holiday over there second.
Yeah, you
I
definitely get
mean,
more
yeah,
depth, because you look at after you
Yeah.
eliminate Cat and Donovan
Getting, yeah, it's true.
over
Getting a free
Brook.
Calvin and Van Vliet is nice. If it's like, I guess if it's like a deeper, like a 12 team, maybe you
Yeah,
do
I think
it.
I still lean the Embiid side just with the Cat injury. I do think it's pretty close if Cat was healthy.
Yeah, I mean,
I'd
you're just
probably
getting
even
the
go the
best.
Cat side if he was healthy.
You're just getting the best center in Messi though.
Because Cat, you just can't. It's hard, right? Because we don't know the timing, right? Cat could be out for 3 weeks, or it could be 3 months. We just don't know at this point. We don't know the degree. 14 team.
14 team. Ooh.
See, those like deeper leagues make the questions tougher, right? Because upgrading to the best player is not as great as it is in like 10 team leagues that I know we get a lot of questions about. Potential season-ending injury. I wouldn't call it a season ender just because the initial reports are that I think it was a calf tear, which is a lot of people were calling like ACL, MCL, because it looked bad. Just these like non-contact injuries, but yeah,
I would be shocked if it's season ending.
yeah, my guess would be from what I've heard, total guesses, somewhere between 3 weeks and 3 months. And I know it's crazy, but I think 3 months is like the worst case. Yeah. Which is a long ass time. But obviously that's worst case.
I'm trying to think if I would do that for Vincent.
I mean, okay, so let's say it this way. If he says 14 team league, he tells you that trade and Cat doesn't get hurt, you pretty easily take the Cat side, right? Just because of how much better the depth is.
Yeah, probably.
And it's just like Embiid Holiday versus Cat and Donovan is actually pretty close by itself.
Yeah.
Even though Embiid is for sure the best player in the deal. So
yeah, I would take the 4 there.
Yeah. I think it's really tough because I think you could argue that the trade is not that good if Cat's injury is the 3 months. If Cat's injury is 3 weeks, I still take that side. I do like that side.
Yeah, I think 14 team league, you definitely take the Donovan side.
Yeah.
I almost said Donovan Edwards because the Michigan game we absolutely destroyed Ohio State. Oh, I had to get out there. Oh my god, I've watched that game like 4 times.
Really?
Yes. We don't have to get into this. This is a basketball show.
No. These guys don't
Go
hear.
Just there's nothing to say. Like Ohio State stinks, and I don't think they'll ever be put on national television again because they're awful and overrated. And
But Canyon, they were without
in the playoffs.
They were without.
Yeah, we were without Blake Corum and Eric Hall.
An amazing running.
We were without Blake Corum and Eric Hall too. Okay, buddy. Donovan Edwards played with one hand.
Hey, Urban Meyer coached that game.
Heikenberg played with 2 broken thumbs. He's alive. He doesn't have to grip a football. Okay, he doesn't grip a football.
When I saw that,
Your secondary tear their ACLs because they couldn't guard a man. That's for sure. What's that excuse? They forget how to run. Anyway.
Okay, we can move. I was gonna make a joke, but
they're not here. They're not here for that. They're not here for that. And there might be Ohio State fans, which sorry.
Unsub. No, I'm just kidding. Pick up Craig. 12 team 9 cat.
Torrey Craig. 12 team 9 cat for Torrey Craig. Who's is Chris Paul? Who else is out for that team right now? I mean, I don't think so.
Paul's coming back soon, isn't he?
Should be. Yeah, I don't love Torrey Craig long term. Especially in a cat league. If it was like a points league, maybe because defensively he can pop off a little bit. But it's like threes. He'll give you like a couple threes and like 10 points and then a couple boards. It's. I don't love it.
I just assume there's a better pickup or the player you would drop for him is better. But it's hard to. Just want to see 12 team. I'm a Wisconsin Badgers fan, even worse. Hey, it's all good. I'm a Spartans fan, so tough. But I live in Michigan.
Yeah, you chose the wrong team. I don't know what else to tell you.
What's it, dude? I don't know. Like I
don't hate Wisconsin. I don't. Wisconsin's always like a.
Did you choose Michigan or did you grow up in a Michigan family?
I think you answered both those. Yes. I mean, I'm my own sentient
Why'd you
being.
come on the stream tonight? Did you make that decision for yourself, or did I text you and say we doing the stream tonight and you hopped on?
I also
Who's
made that
calling the
decision.
shots here, Kenyon?
I'm sick and I'm still here. Okay, I made the decision.
And I'm sick of this.
I can't breathe out of my nose.
Thanks, mates. Hey, no problem. Sammy, Michigan represents.
Yes, sir. Go blue, baby. Come on.
Michigan State
God, we could win
basketball,
it
a
all this
decent
year. We
start.
could win it all this year. Yeah, I don't want to talk about basketball. We don't want to talk about that right now.
I'm on. Dude, Spartans fans, we're on to basketball. The season is over. Real quick, I know nobody cares, and we will talk NBA fantasy to close out the stream in a minute. Are you surprised at the number of Spartans fans that wanted Ohio State to win that game?
No, I mean Spartan fans are just salty little.
All right, if
instigators and all that
MSU
good
was in that game, would you root for the Spartans or Ohio State?
Yes, Spartans.
Okay,
Because
okay,
Ohio State
yeah,
is our rival. Michigan State's not a rival. It's just kind of like a get yourself in check game.
Yeah,
for
it
the
is
actual
a.
rival. You know, that's
No,
that's me being.
I heard some people were talking about like, oh, but like my neighbors are Michigan fans, and like I have to hear this for the next year, and I was like, okay, I kind of get that, but like,
I get
why
that
would
too,
you
but like
want Ohio State though?
State fans, their biggest rivalry is Michigan. Michigan fans, their biggest rivalry is Ohio State. That's just how it is. You can make jokes about, oh, Michigan State's irrelevant to Michigan, and Michigan State just hates, like you can talk about that all you want. When it comes down to it, Michigan,
Yeah.
Ohio State, the game, that's right. Michigan State, their rivalry is Michigan, which makes sense because that's just kind of how.
All right, we're going back to NBA fantasy. I don't want to talk about Michigan State football anymore.
We can talk about Michigan State basketball. It's better for you, and it's still basketball, but whatever. Jet Howard, we'll be talking about Jet Howard in
Yeah,
5 years.
I don't know if we're
honestly.
doing like the deep Devi dynasty, like
Yeah.
20
Dude, I would love to do that. I would love to do that someday. Just talk about like dynasty college
I would so be
basketball
down.
kind of guys.
I think that's a next season thing. Yeah, anybody in dynasty leagues.
I mean, this year it's like, dude, the top 10 guys, like half of them are gonna be like G League or Wembanyama. Like it's a weird draft this year so far,
Yeah.
the way it's shaking out. But whatever.
My worst players are Alex Burks. We love Burks, especially with no Cade, Jalen Williams, and then Suggs. Who's the first drop when Lillard comes back?
Oh,
It's just points
question.
league. Right,
I would probably say
12 oh, it's 9 cat. This is the 9 cat.
I would.
Because Burks is tough because he is just he's just not going to give you good peripherals at the guard spot.
No, but I think his usage probably won't drop off if Kane's going to be out for this long, right?
Yeah.
So
we like him.
Did he say it was
12 team 9 cat?
It might be Burks. Because Jalen Williams will give you more peripherals, but Burks is going to score.
And he's just got that rookie. He's got that rookie mystique, you know?
Yeah.
You know about that shiny new toy who's starting to see 30 minutes? You're like,
yeah.
What if he just gets it going?
I would drop out Burks probably.
Yeah.
Even though I still think he'll have minutes and be effective for sure. I'm not saying
right. And the thing is too, like when you think about it, I think it's less likely that you're gonna look at this move like a month from now and be like, damn, I dropped Burks. Because your thought's gonna be like, oh, look at Burks he's like putting up solid like 16-point games, but I can replicate close to that with these other guys plus peripherals, right? The difference between Burks's 18-point games that he'll give you and like Williams' 12 points, it's not that big of a deal in like the grand scheme of like a category league. So you definitely want the upside of those other peripherals.
Yep.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Exactly.
So I said your line. My bad.
I agree, Jimmy.
For my trade before, if I swap out Keldon and give him Mitch Robb or Marvin Bagley, it's that a definite
swap
take.
out
So
Keldon.
let's go back.
Okay,
so this is the Embiid Holiday Brook so it would be Donovan, Fred VanVleet, Cat, and then
it'd be like Bagley or Mitchell Robinson.
Yeah, which are pretty.
Or Draymond. No, don't do Draymond. If you can get away with like Bagley or Mitchell Robinson, because then you're just swapping. You keep Keldon, give him. But it's a 14-team league. Bagley, if Stu comes back, I still think Bagley would be effective. I like Bagley for fantasy purposes.
I'd really love to I know we don't like have the time to do this, but I would love to just like look at your team, because this is definitely like a look at the team and just like I need to like drink it in and just think how bad is your replacement level if you do that trade, right?
I would be more keen. I'd be more interested in, instead of swapping Kelvin, I'd be more interested in swapping Brooke Lopez on his side for someone better and
Yeah.
seeing if he
Oh
would
no,
still
I
do
agree.
it.
Yeah, if you could do, because Brooke, we both think is outproducing what he'll do. So if you can swap Brooke for somebody who
Yeah.
you think season long will be better, and then still do that like Bagley swap, he might actually, no, not Bagley, Mitch Robinson. I'm fine with that, and do that swap. He probably would be like still apt to do that because Brooke's been pretty solid for sure. Thanks, dude. Yeah, yeah, no,
Yeah.
appreciate you.
Yeah. Yeah. True. He might be like, I would swap out Brooke for someone better, but to him, it might be like, oh yeah, thanks, I'll keep Brooke. Because I'm not as high on Brooke either. Like we both think,
Yeah.
like you just said, that he's kind of capping off his ceiling right now.
At what point? I mean, we're already seeing it a little bit, right?
What?
Like, at what point is like, oh, are we just wrong about Brooke Lopez? We're not, right?
When
We're just not, right? The answer is just we're not.
no, no, but I think also like when Chris Middleton comes back, like yes, it is a different,
Yeah,
like it's not like a
he's
direct
still gonna have these block ins.
competition
He's
as
a
far as
very good
position.
shot blocker.
Yeah, I think it's like Chris Middleton coming back, and the blocks are going to come down, or I guess we're just wrong because he had like the best block season in history. So like sue us, right?
Yeah.
So,
Bane,
can't get wrong with
Keldon
that.
or Bane. It's pretty easily Bane for me.
Elden or Bane. Uh, yeah. I don't know. It's close for me, honestly.
Yeah.
You like Bane that much more? I can get behind Bane. Swap Brook for Kuzma or Tobias. I don't know that for Kuzma probably.
Ooh, Kuz, yeah. I like
Um,
that. Oh, I like that. Let me read this tweet. Let me read this tweet for you.
Brook Lopez.
Brook Lopez. Embiid, Drew Holiday, Kyle Kuzma, for Donovan Mitchell, Fred VanVleet, Karl Anthony Towns, and Mitchell Robinson. I like that. Because I think you can kind of just like, even in a 14-team league, I'm fine with just like Mitchell Robinson, cool. Like, I'll find a replacement for you, you know?
Yes.
So I kind of just like remove him from the trade in my mind. And then it's Donovan, Fred VanVleet, and Cat, who's hurt, for Embiid, Holiday, and Kuz. That's a smash. So I think I'd be even fine. Would you still be fine with Keldon?
I, I, I mean, there's no harm
Okay,
in shipping that
yes,
trade
I
out.
know, but would
Okay.
you still do it if you had to give Keldon?
Eldon over Mitchell Robinson,
Yeah.
probably not.
Okay. Even with Kuz on the other side?
Yeah, just because it's like that extra player being Kelvin Johnson in a 14-team league. That's a big deal to me.
Yeah, I think
Like this is a free player in a 14-team
I
league.
will say it is so tough for us to like analyze this not knowing the Cat timeline. Because if Cat's timeline is 3 months, that's so much different than like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
It's just really hard to analyze these
Oh,
trades with that.
Tell your buddy to send you the trade, and then just hover over that accept button once you figure out this injury news.
Just refresh Karl Anthony Towns injury news in Google until you see something. Notifications on for Woj and Shams.
Yeah.
Yo, what's up, Sonny? Just managed to trade Shea for Jokic.
Ooh, nice. I mean, don't get me wrong, Shea is.
I know it's kind of
That's
funny,
not as
right?
big of a swap as we thought it would be.
I'm gonna be honest. Like Shea's like first 3 games, I would have been like, "Holy fleece!" Like you just robbed this man blind. But I think it's just a good trade. Like I think you win. I don't think it's like a smash, but good trade. I like that because process is Shea. Because right now Jokic has been really disappointing, right? And Shea's been unbelievable. Shea is outscoring Jokic by like 2 fantasy points per game. So like disappointing Jokic versus like smash Shea is pretty close. And I know Jokic has had good games too. I'm not saying he's been a total disappointment, but at least from initial expectations heading into the season, he was the 101, you know?
Yeah.
Appreciate you guys. Hey, appreciate you. Yeah, I want to say shout out to you guys in the chat real quick. I'm going to do a nice thing and then I'm going to do a plug because that's what we're here for. No, really appreciate you guys. We wouldn't we wouldn't be able to do this stuff, right? Stream to you guys, talk NBA fantasy if you guys didn't show up, weren't subbed, hanging out with us. So we appreciate that. And we also appreciate making money on underdog player prop bets if you use code Canyon. That is CANYON. Link is in the description. If you don't have an account, use promo code Canyon. 100% deposit match up to $100. Yes, I practiced this in the mirror before we went live today. Get yourself that deposit match. Do some player props. We do player prop streams at another channel.
Wait, Canyon like the Grand Canyon?
Grand Canyon.
Okay.
You guys for really go, hey, appreciate you guys. No, you guys are, right? Because if it wasn't for you guys, we would just be talking to each other on Discord. Man.
LeBron or Hallie? LeBron.
We love Hallie. We are Hallie lovers.
But
it's got to be LeBron, though. I get it, though.
Way more offensive usage. The assists, Hallie wins the assist category, but it's not like far off. And then LeBron just wins everything else, but like threes. Yeah. Defense is close, right? Like free throw percentage, I guess, but it's still LeBron.
Oh, it was. It's closer in Cat. You think it's a little bit? Yeah. Just with what Hallie gives you, assists, threes.
Yeah, free throw percentage, turnovers.
But I think points is pretty. It's probably just LeBron in both, but points.
Yeah, I think
points is still LeBron for sure. Is for LeBron for sure.
Yeah,
it's so funny, man.
Trey or Siakam for a points league, I would do Siakam in a points league. Just I give him the defensive edge. It's like the assists. Siakam's just blasting assists right now. Scoring wise, they're pretty comparable. Like Trey has a higher ceiling, but like Siakam on average, at the end of the season, they're not going to be super far off. Rebounds go to Siakam, defense goes to Siakam, assists, Trey obviously has that, but the way that Siakam's been playing to start the season, that's also not far off. Like Siakam's having an incredible season. Siakam right now for consistency.
He's outscoring him like 4 or 5 points per game in like traditional points leagues. Like that's pretty wild.
I should know that.
Yeah. It is points per game though. Obviously, like Siakam's missed some time.
Yeah.
Trey's had some duds in those, but
yeah. Positional advantage is nice too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. We talked about, positional advantage, replacement level. Free girls in my city.
In my city?
Free girls.
Wait, they're free?
I don't like the connotation of a
I don't like free. Girl. What do you mean by that?
Also, there's no link. Oh, I guess the username. Nobody typed that username into.
And not in your city, U City.
Oh.
You ever been to U City?
Is this like how we end out the stream?
I didn't want it to be, but end out the stream tomorrow. Big game. USA. Let's go, boys. Just score some goals, beat Iran, and let's get to the knockout round, please.
Yeah, we need the win, right?
Yeah, have to win. I like our chances. We looked really good against England. I have to sneeze, so go ahead and fill my spot here.
Yeah, no, I think the world was surprised. U.S. shocked the world. The only team to ever win by time. Ooh. I think was what U.S. did there.
I know. I saw a post that was like a newspaper title, and it says USA wins 0-0.
Yeah. Oh, vamos México también. Yes. Hablo español un poco, solo. Lo siento.
Memo Ochoa as a goat. In the 14-team league, would you try to build your team around having depth or stars?
It's a great question.
I mean, that is a great question. I would probably go depth. Reasoning for that is obviously in a 14-team league, you're really dipping into the guys that are on very inconsistent minutes, inconsistent usage. Yeah. And this is a league where there's a lot of injuries, to unfortunately the stars just as much as the bench players, right? And so there's going to be a lot of unexpected people missing time. So you have depth, you cover for that better. We've already seen large swings in expected production out of players. Yep. Guys like Jokic who had slower start. Like these stars, there's very few stars that are set as stars for the whole year, right? And there's going to be some mid-round guys that are going to become closer to stars. Like it's a very fluid game. It's a day-by-day game, right? In league, obviously. So I think depth covers your bases in the unpredictability of the season and fantasy basketball in general. That I think can help you win consistently
Yeah.
over just stars carrying.
Yeah, and I think like obviously the easy answer is like you build around stars in a way that doesn't sacrifice your depth, but obviously that's a difficult thing to do in those kind of leagues. I think in those
Yeah,
leagues it's literally, I mean, you just have to, because so many guys are rostered, you have to really really commit to playing the waiver wire well,
yeah,
because we get these guys like Melton and Milton, right, for the Sixers when you get some of these injuries that
Alton,
molten
Milton,
milk balls. Yeah,
Milk Dud.
yeah. So yeah, no, playing the waivers in like those deep teams are like super important. But I mean, it's a really good question, right? So I think my answer would be depth is important, and a lot of times when we get asked questions like, should I do this 3-for-1 trade or this 3-for-2, but like the two side has a dud, and you're trying to like upgrade, we're like, hey, how shallow is this league? That's our first question. It's like, is this eight to 10 team? Because yeah, get yourself the stud, because replacement level, right? That's the big thing in NBA fantasy is replacement level when you're doing this. So
Yeah,
yeah, no, but what should I do with Ben Simmons? Should I package him in a deal or hold? Yeah, these trade questions. I mean, it's all about how people value. We are like more believers in Ben Simmons. I know he just left with the injury, so he's kind of tough. But man, I'm a believer that he just has so much. He has such a weird floor, but it exists. Like the scoring is going to be inconsistent, and he's going to have these games where he's just like awful or doesn't even shoot a ton. But any guard that's just going to give you the rebounding assist numbers he's going to give you is tough. Because I don't think
yeah,
I don't think he's like a sell high, because I don't think anyone's going to like want to buy Ben Simmons. Like I don't know. I don't see that.
yeah,
He was a buy low for us for a while because everyone just
yeah,
hates him.
yeah. I love Ben Simmons. I think in general his production and his value is just higher than what people think he is. So I would usually hold him. If you have an inkling or someone's sending you a trade for him and like they're showing their cards that they like Ben Simmons, I
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't hate trying to sell high on him because he will be inconsistent
Yep.
and he does have, that weird high floor but really low ceiling type of deal. So I'm not saying like don't ever get rid of him, but I say that because it's just so apparent in the public and in media and most fantasy leagues that like people aren't high on Ben Simmons. But I think he should be valued much higher than what people say about him.
Yeah. Any great job at yo? Appreciate that. Thank you, Sammy. Any sell high targets for
Mm.
KP? Yeah, I think I mean he's like top 30 right now. Top 25
Yeah,
maybe in just like
I
points league.
I don't hate just holding him. I think he's going to be solid. If
Yeah.
you're looking to get
I
rid
mean,
of him and
yeah,
you're
if you
scared
can
that
get up to
there's
like
going
a
to be a
top
drop
if you can
off,
get up to like a top 20 guy, I'd be down. Like if you can like
yeah,
somehow do some kind of package deal or something where you're selling high on him but still packaging to get like a guy who you
I
know for
think
sure. Um but it's
I
tough.
think a guy I think a guy you can move up for that's pretty within reach is like a Sabonis. Like I like
Mm.
Sabonis. He's not like crazy dominant where like there's
Yeah,
like a
they're pretty
all hands off
close.
rule. They are pretty close, but I feel better about Sabonis. His rebounding numbers are just much higher. His assist numbers are much higher. His points can get up there. They're not going to be probably as high as KP.
Yep.
Defensively, blocks wise, he's not going to be as great, but like I feel good. I like Sabonis. I think that's a good upgrade. That's a pretty safe upgrade too, right? With
Yeah.
KP's injury history. So I think that could be a start. But like, there's no harm in shopping.
Yeah. Yeah, and
But like
Sabonis, I
I don't.
mean, yeah, I think health wise too, it's you feel a little bit better about Sabonis being able to play 65 plus games than KP.
Yeah, I mean, I hopefully KP stays healthy, but like I don't think he's gonna. Like I think he's just gonna be solid this year.
Yeah. All right. Appreciate you guys. We're coming up on an hour here. Much love as always for watching the streams. Appreciate it. Candy, you have any parting words?
Um, Guys, hope that I feel better. Been sick since Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving, by the way. Happy holidays.
Yeah, true.
Hopefully you can, be with your family and friends, whatever you got to do. Oh, freaking USA, win the game, keep it going. Michigan, Purdue this weekend. We're going to absolutely stomp the Boilermakers. It's a great sports season. You got NBA, you got the World Cup, you got NFL, you got college football, you got college basketball. It doesn't stop. It's a great time in the
It
holidays. It's a
is.
great time.
Dude, when NFL's heading into the playoffs, the NBA's in mid form, The
Yeah.
World Cup on top of that.
Yeah, it's a good holiday season.
Let's go. All right. Peace out. Oh 07.